Good morning, welcome to my channel. My name's Seth. I'm attempting to build a brand and this channel around a slightly hippie mindset and these stupid things. I should maybe pick up the one I've actually completed. These stupid things. Bows. Specifically Yew Selfbows. You'll be able to tell me what's wrong with this picture. What is wrong with this picture? Well, it's a broken bow. And this was a particularly valuable piece of wood, and it took what, 10 hours? Let's say 10 hours to get to this stage. And when it lets go, and it's very little you can do it from this point. You could cut it here maybe, use the limb to join into another bow, but it's not the one piece complete self bow that we were trying to make. And instead of throwing it on the fire, what you can do is learn from it. Well, probably end up on the fire. But first, we've got to learn what we did wrong. Because otherwise, it's just a waste. It's a waste of time. I'm not going to let that happen. You see, I know what went wrong here. And what makes it worse is I probably could have stopped it from happening. So I'm going to go through this. And then apply it to our next bow. So let's do that. Managed to find the pieces for when it let go. See if I can put it back in some sort of orientation. Oh yeah, that bit went there. You can see the line between the whitewood and the heartwood, the sapwood and the heartwood, that is. The white and the orange, the sapwood and the heartwood. You can see there's a little divot there. And there's no coincidence that the bow broke there. There's actually one down here as well. I couldn't tell you exactly where the crack started from, but I would wager it was right there. I knew this. This is how they break. If you have any violation in the sapwood here, you can see the wood. It might be hard to see with the camera, but the wood will just peel away. The grains aren't thick and orderly in the place where they should be, so they create these little shallow areas, these little weak areas. That's where they let go. See, that's another knot there. I was quite successful in leaving a decent amount of material. The one down here, just got to see him there. Two little imperfections. You can see it already started to splinter up here. That's the one that let go. We know this is the problem. With your self bow, that's what you're looking for. You're trying to find a piece of wood that has a really nice orderly structure in it, and that's what makes the piece of wood valuable. But you're going to come across lots of bits of wood that might make a bow, that aren't going to have, well, will have these little imperfections on them. So what can you do? Well, this one, I took a bit of birch bark, a whole bunch of it over here. Stay there, Molly. Played around with birch bark. So this one here is the one that's on the back of the bow. This is cherry birch. The tree rots away once it's died, and the birch bark is actually left behind. It's pretty tough stuff. I mean, it's not like a sheet of bamboo that you put on a composite bow to really shore up the front of the bow. But in terms of stopping a splinter coming away from the front and causing the whole bow to break, it seems to have been effective. It just holds that piece down and it ain't going anywhere. But you don't know. You can't be sure. See, what I should have done with that one is cover up the fail spot. That's exactly what I did with this one. I had a bow break before in a fail spot, and with this piece of wood, because it was so long, I really didn't want it to let go on me. So I took some bark and I preempted the break, or the potential break spots, with just a bit of bark there. And this one is working still. Probably a good time to shoot it. Actually, since I put this one together, I have tried to put a bit more reflex into the limbs. It's really low. I haven't shot in a few days. Let's try and hit the box before I put this guy down. That fletching's loose. There we go. Yeah, still working. Has not broken. So yeah, back to learning from the mistakes. I guess learning from the mistakes is one thing, but actually remember to to implement them is the next. That's why I was a little bit mad at myself. Because with this one, let's say I've gone ahead and covered this little fail spot up. It might have held it together long enough for me to, well, that was the next thing I needed to do, which was increase the amount that it bended, and all I had to do was take a bit more material here. It was already pulling to 28 inches where it should be. I'll try and get them a little bit longer because I've pulled to 29, so yeah, it's sort of worth testing on that far. So yeah, just a bit more. So if I'd shored up that little break spot and then just removed a bit more here, I'd be holding a complete bow right now. I really wish it was, because it was going really well. This was a solid piece of wood, kept a nice bit of meat and width on the thing, so it was powerful even though it was drawing to the. I guess that's the challenge with your bow making. You're trying to retain power, but also its ability to to pull back nice and far. You just took away all the material and made it a super bendy stick. It'd do that no problem. You're trying to make it bend as far as you need to, but also retain material, which is sort of forcing against you doing that. And there's the essence of the bow. Yeah, I guess the next thing to remember is old lore. Old lore is around bow making. This one broke at night. I was working on it just before I went to bed, and old lore says you're not supposed to work on yew bows at night time. I guess it comes from when we didn't have artificial light, so you really wouldn't be able to see very well, and these pieces of wood are valuable. So you're running the risk of just not seeing these little things, not seeing little splinters coming up that you could deal with and stop the bow from breaking. So yeah, so what we can do, instead of just hurting and hating and effing and blinding, you get a little bit of effing and blinding. I think it's fair enough after you put that much work into a piece of wood and bits on the handle as well. I'll try and keep that in the build process. There's not really much point in doing the handle until you've got the bow working like a bow, because if it breaks, it's wasted time. There's a little bit you have to do with sort of building the structure of the thing together with the handle, but you really want to get the bulk of the bending out the way first, which I did with this one. I remembered to do that this time, because on the one before I put a whole bunch of work into the handle and then the thing let go. So yeah, I remembered that, but then didn't remember to shore up my fail spot, and I didn't remember to go harder here to build up the wedge more. So what do? We take our next bow. This one's a bit different. It's already got handle meat nicely on the back. It was from a log that's about this thick, and the whole back side of it had big knots on it. You can see the remainder of some here. This should make the handle quite pretty if it survives. This was the good face. So rather than try and split the log down the middle, went in and cut chunks away. I mean, yeah. Each log, each stave is going to be different. So you want to be mindful, really very mindful each time you go in. Use valuable. It's hard to come by. If you're going to buy it, it's very expensive, and it's not the easiest bow wood to work with. It's liable to be weak, patterned. You're not always going to get a decent amount or the correct ratio of sapwood to heartwood. So you're having to create that. You don't get that with ash bows. The wood is more or less even. It's easier to see the form that you're trying to extract from the wood. You go back to basics with each one, because I almost did it here with my first cut. Potentially, I'm trying to leave a spine and a belly. I'm going to struggle with that amount of material, and that was from the first saw cut, trying to remove the back of the log. So from the very first cut, you can completely ruin a really very nice stave. So hopefully hopefully this sapwood drops away and there's more heartwood sort of in the curve of the log, which would be the first thing to remember. We're going to look at the end here and remember that this part of the heartwood is higher than this part of the heartwood. So we're going to take away the corners. We want to leave a complete sapwood layer over the top of the thing. We're going to have to follow that curve. If we work up and look in the stave, we can see a potential fail spot straight away. So we're also going to want to leave material around that. We're going to have to try and fight. Yeah, you can't really see it here. It's a little hump there. Once you start removing material, there's going to be a structure under there, and you're going to want to leave as much material around. A little hump there to stop that splinter from coming up. And this is actually quite a nice one, so it's hard to show. But if you don't follow this line and you just cut through, you're going to have sapwood here, and then just heartwood, and then back to sapwood again. So you've violated the structure. Even a tiny little divot like that. So yeah, around this area, you want to be mindful. You've got any more down here? You've got one further. Yeah, this one's going to be tricky because when you're at full bend, all the pressure's going here. So this little line of imperfections might cause problems as well. So it's not showing up on the heartwood sapwood combination. Yeah, I can already see the points where this bow is potentially going to fail if we don't do what we need to do to stop it from breaking like that one. So we key it in now and see, we're going to get to this point and I'm going to put the birch on there. It might not stop it from failing, but it might well do. The first thing to do is to get rid of that, because once you put the birch bark on, you're unable to tiller it. You're unable to take away the sapwood to help it bend. Then what would I do next? I did wonder with the handle here if I'd already gone, if I wanted to keep it a little bit deeper. Let's see if I'm working the thing back. Am I going to come too close to the front of the bow? I think I'm okay. If I put it up to some of the other bows I've made, gives you a nice grasp around the front as long as you're this sort of distance. Yeah, I want to get this one right. Oh, that was it. That was the next thing that's going to sort of be the variable in what makes it break, is the length of the limbs. This one, very long. 76 inches long. So you've got a huge amount of material to share a bend across. The wood isn't bending as much as if you made a short bow. Yep. So my successful, this one's going to be 60 inches. My successful 60-inch bows I've done before, they were not set like this. Longer bows, I think probably over sort of 66 inches. I think you can get away with them being sort of straight set or front set like this. But with these short bows, I think the deflex, having the limbs set back like this and then sort of curing that sag with reflex or recurve is the only way to make this material move that much, unless you've done really very well at creating a nice wide bendy piece of wood here. This is everyone's going to need to make these choices because each piece of wood is slightly different. You're going to be making a very slightly different bow to someone else, and those slight differences just be the width of the thing. That's going to affect the depth of the thing, and combine that with the length of the thing and how far you're trying to make it draw. You might not be trying to make it draw as far as me, so it's going to want to adopt potentially a different shape. That's what I'm trying to go for here. Yeah. It's a continuous learning process, I think. Considering how, I'm going to take that out of the sunshine, considering how unique each piece of wood is, you're always going to come up against something, well, you might come up against something similar, but you're never really going to know until you strip away the wood. If it survives or if it breaks. But I guess that's the key, that is the key here. If you're make bows, and they go ahead and break on you, which I promise you they will. Hello Molly, you're looking a bit warm. Do not get dejected, disheartened. I guess you start seeing the fails as a positive thing, in a way. Yeah, that's a funny way to put it, because I really wish this was still a bow. But at the same time, you then have the opportunity to learn, to see exactly what it was that went wrong, and see the value in different build methods, different procedures. That's the only way you learn. You make the mistakes, and you turn it into experience, and then you turn your experience into wisdom. Yeah, I hope to achieve that. I really hope that one works with the solid handle piece. It's going to look very pretty. But you can't get attached. You need to go through the procedure, and then you need to test the thing. So I guess that one is still in it. It's probably fired 100 hours now, but I guess it's still in its testing phase. So it's got to prove itself to be a solid piece of wood. I think it is nice and long like that. I don't think it's going to break with its birch back and whatnot. I'm going to put some more on there. Got a whole bunch of it here. I've got the some silver birch. Wow. See if I just put that on here. Who knows? The bow might have survived. You can't say for sure. It's a certain type 2 type of fun. Either you're gonna love it or hate it. I'm starting to love it. When they're successful, what a satisfying project. Considering how easy it is for them just to snap. They are just a stick that is 90% broken, is the old phrase. Yeah. So let's remember that. I think I'm going to live by that one from now on as well. Shouldn't be making them at night. And the king said it hundreds of years ago. Don't do it at night. These bits of wood are valuable. It's a hard craft. It's a tricky thing to do. So you need the daylight. You need your mind fresh. You need to be thinking straight. Not getting lazy. I think that's the important bit. I was getting complacent. So, oh, it's good and strong. No, sir. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for everyone who's subscribed. It's an honor. I'll do my best to keep bringing somewhat interesting content. Please let me know if you're enjoying the learning process like I am, because that's what I'm doing. I'm no pro bow maker. I've come here from foraging and just enjoying the forest and walking the dog, and a bit of trauma. Turn trauma into creativity, and more trauma. Yeah, no, love it. More working bows. Proper achievement. Thanks again.